Malpelo means bad hair in Spanish, and that might be the nicest thing anyone has ever said about that rock. It's barren cliff sitting about 500 kilometers or 310 miles off the coast of Colombia with no stores, no fresh water, and no real reason to visit unless you're obsessed with what lives underneath. And I'm going to take you through the crossing, the island, and the dives that will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about the ocean. Because what's waiting beneath the surface of this place is unlike anything else you can see on Earth, and I can't wait to show you. You don't just book a flight and show up to Malpelo on a whim. You have to book this thing, usually a couple years in advance. You fly into Cali, Colombia, then ride a bus for 3 to 4 hours until you reach the Pacific coast at the port town called Buenaventura. That's where the boat, called the liveaboard, is waiting. And from there, you're looking at more than a full day of open ocean crossing with no land in sight. A liveaboard is exactly what it sounds like, a boat you live on for the entire trip, sleeping, eating, and diving from the same vessel the whole time. The particular one that takes you to Malpelo is the Furox. It's more of a tank than a luxury boat, and you'll be thankful for that tank because it gets you to and from Malpelo safely. If weather turns rough, you ride it out, because the boat is your only home out there. Some crossings are glassy and calm. Some will have you holding on and grinning through the swells that remind you exactly how far from land you really are. Everything ahead was a rock with no hospital, no bar, and not even fresh water tap. But that's the thing nobody tells you before you go. The crossing is where the trip actually begins. The island doesn't start when you see the cliffs. It starts the moment you realize you can't turn back. By the time Malpelo appears on the horizon, your brain has already accepted that you're not in charge of this one. And if you're enjoying this video, now's a great time to like and subscribe. This channel is all about scuba stories, dive adventures, and underwater encounters that bring you closer to the ocean. And if you're enjoying it, please do share it with others. When Malpelo finally rises out of the Pacific, it looks like a fortress built from black stone, and nothing about it is soft or welcoming. There are no beaches, no trees, just sheer cliffs that shoot straight up into the sky, circled by seabirds, lovingly called boobies, that genuinely look unfazed by your arrival. And there's a small group of Colombian military personnel that live on the island, and even they look like they're roughing it on a permanent camping trip. And even UNESCO named Malpelo a World Heritage Site, which is a designation given to places around the world considered too special to lose. The island sits right at the tip of a massive underwater mountain ridge that plunges more than 4,000 meters or 13,000 feet down to the ocean floor. So what you're looking at from the boat is literally the very mountain peak of this enormous underwater mountain poking out of the middle of nowhere, surrounded on all sides by some of the deepest water in the Pacific. Above the surface, everything feels raw and wild. And the wildness is exactly what makes the world below so extraordinary. You didn't come for the rock, and the moment you roll off the inflatable tender and drop beneath the surface, you understand why. A tender is a small inflatable boat that ferries divers from the liveaboard out to the dive sites and picks you back up again after the dive. The first thing that hits you is how completely the ocean ignores your schedule, with strong currents, unpredictable surge, and walls that drop away into the deep almost immediately. Most dives here start with what's called a negative entry, where you roll into the water and sink as fast as possible before the current can sweep you off course. As a diver, the boat operators require advanced certification and real open water experience before they'll even put you on board the liveaboard. Because Malpelo genuinely rewards divers who are ready for it. You're not gliding through a calm coral garden here. You're drifting along cliffs, pinnacles that rise up from thousands of meters below, and the water around you is absolutely packed with life. Then the sharks show up, and not just one or two. Schools of scalloped hammerhead sharks can pass by in groups of 200 or 300, moving together in a sweeping arc like they own the place, which honestly, they do. Galapagos sharks cruise the water column at every depth. Whale sharks appear out of nowhere in the blue. Silkies patrol the shallows, and walls of big-eyed jacks swirl around you so thick they actually can block out the light. I remember hovering at a thermocline, which is the invisible layer where cold, deep water meets the warmer surface water, and watching hundreds of jacks spin around me like a living tornado. Then, a Galapagos shark cuts straight through the middle of the swirl, everything scattered around it in a split second, and my brain just stopped trying to keep up. And seeing tuna, which you would never realize how cool they are from the way you think of tuna as genuinely food. Scientists have recorded more than 400 fish species and 30 shark species around this single rock. And when you're in the water, you feel every single one of them. The reason Malpelo feels like another planet isn't the sharks, or the currents, or even the sheer walls dropping into the dark. It's the complete and total absence of us. Only one liveaboard is permitted in the marine park at one time, which means there are only a dozen or less of other divers sharing that entire ocean around Malpelo. There's no resorts, there's no bars, no beaches. Used to be no Wi-Fi, but they do have Starlink nowadays, so that's changing. The Colombian government protects Malpelo as a wildlife sanctuary, but the real protection comes from how hard the place is to reach and how little it caters to visitors. The weather and the current decide when you dive and how long you stay, and that's the kind of freedom you don't get anywhere else. The sharks swim past you like you're a piece of driftwood. The current pulls regardless of how tired your legs are, and the rocks stay beautifully indifferent to all of it, because no one ever built this place for humans. The ecosystem here is intact in a way that most of the ocean simply isn't anymore. You're not a tourist moving through a managed experience. You're a guest in a place that never sent an invitation, but welcomes you anyway, if you've come prepared. That's the feeling that follows you home from Malpelo, a deep and genuine sense of wonder that's genuinely hard to shake. The ocean doesn't need us to be extraordinary, and out there, it proves it every single day. Every diver I know who has made the crossing has come back lit up inside and likely already planning return. If stories like this one make you curious about what's out there beneath the surface, stick around because we're just getting started. If you enjoyed this video, I have a perfect follow-up for you to watch here. And YouTube thinks you might like this one over here. You can check that one out as well. The more you know, the more you love, and protect the ocean. Until next time.